Welcome, Risers. It's that time once again for the Agent Rise podcast. I'm your host, Neil Mathweg, flying solo today. Mindy will be back next week. And this week, we are talking about diving deeper with our engagements. I have this thought that it's really no longer about the leads. I mean, I've talked with agents that have just hundreds and thousands of leads. I talked with one agent at a recent conference that has over 60,000 leads in their pipeline. I mean, it's amazing how many leads that you can actually acquire. And the lead part of it is the easy part of it, really. And we've got many different ways that you can acquire leads, and that's all inside the Agent Rise Academy. But today I specifically want to talk about ways that after you have the leads, how can you increase the engagements? Because actually talking to the people, increasing these engagements is what's going to get the results. If you're spinning your wheels right now and you're looking to complete more transactions, as we all are, and you're wondering where these transactions are coming from, I want you to look at look at it like a funnel. And if you look at the top of your funnel, this is where your three pillars live. So we talk about your sphere, your chase, and your attraction. And this is what is bringing business in. This is at the top of the funnel. So again, you've got your sphere, which is mailing newsletters. It is client events. It is Popeyes. It is unsolicited CMAs. It is doing things with your sphere. Your chase is online leads, FSBOs and expireds, open houses. You can niche down and do something like probate. You could work with seniors. You could work with investors. You can work with first-time home buyers. This is your chase pillar where you're going to actually go out and get business. And then your attraction is social media, social agent or YouTube are the most two popular ones when it comes to the attraction pillar. So again, this is at the top of your funnel, and this is bringing business into you. This is creating the opportunity to serve somebody. Then the middle of the funnel is what we call is matchmaking. And this is listening to the buyer's criteria or the sellers that maybe have a house to sell, understanding what they need to sell on their timeline and all of that information. What you're doing is you can now matchmake and match these up. If you've got a buyer's criteria and you understand what they're looking for, and again, you use this at the top of the funnel, right? You meet people, understand their criteria, and then start to matchmake. Because guys, it really is as simple as this, that a buyer wants a home and a seller wants a buyer. That's really all real estate is all about. You don't have to overcomplicate it more than that. And so if you just stay attuned to what the buyer is looking for, and like if you're at an open house, you can ask the buyer what they thought about the house that you're standing in, because you've got a little bit of an understanding of what they're looking for just by the house that they're standing in, and then ask them what they thought about that house. And most of the time they'll tell you what they like and what they don't like. And that is going to start to give you their story of criteria. This is a big thing, because once you understand their story of criteria and what they're looking for, you can now matchmake. All right. So again, this is in the middle of the funnel. And then the bottom of the funnel is servicing and how to service these customers, showing offers, writing offers and showing houses and presenting offers to sellers. These are all showing engagements. And this, again, lives at the bottom of the funnel. So today I want to dissect this a little bit more and give you more ways to create these engagements. The matchmaking calls is one way, but there's more to it. So I want to get into that today. Before I get into the list, I got 5 different areas that I want to talk about here to increase your engagements. I want to start with matchmaking. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. Matchmaking is a system that we created inside Agent Rise. It was back in 2017. I was working with a buyer that had filled out a form online. It was a Facebook ad, and she was looking for a property in a neighborhood that I sold quite a few properties in. I knew the neighborhood exactly, and I knew exactly what she was looking for. So I listened to her. I got her criteria. I understood what she was looking for in a house. And I had this great conversation with her. And then she had to go. Our call ended abruptly because she was at her new job and she needed to go to an appointment. And so our call ended, and then she never called me back. Ever had that happen? Like, you have this great call and then they ghost you. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. She just simply would not call me back. I left her multiple messages and she would not get back to me. And I had this period where I was like, I blew it. I didn't, I must have said something, or I must have done something out of character or whatever. And I blew it. And now she's ghosting me. Well, that was not the case. She was busy with life, and as many buyers do, they had a lot going on. And so I thought to myself, what could I do? I've left her a couple different messages now, and she hasn't gotten back to me. And so then I got thinking, you know what? I know what she's looking for. So I went to the MLS, and sure enough, another agent in our market had a coming soon with the identical house that she described to me. Exactly what she's looking for. And even this one was across the street from the park that she wanted to be near. So it was like the exact perfect house that she was looking for. So I called her and I left her a message that sounded like this. I said, hey, this is Neil. I know I've left you a couple of messages, but I found this house that's right in this neighborhood that you're looking in. It's exactly what you're looking for. It's the 4-bedroom, the 3-bath, the 3-car garage. It's the brick 2-story. And I'm telling you what, this one is right across the street from the park. Give me a call back when you get a chance, because it's not even on the MLS yet. So call me back when you get a chance and I'll tell you more about it. Well, it wasn't even 15 minutes later and my phone is ringing, and there she is calling me to tell me, Neil, oh my gosh, I've been so busy with my new job, but tell me more about this house. I can't wait to hear about it. Well, I went on to show her that house. That was the house she ended up buying, and ended up becoming a client for life. She's referred me multiple times and is a great, great client of mine. This all happened because I did what I called matchmaking. I remember coming out of my office and I'm like, guys, this is it. It's matchmaker, make me a match. And I got super fired up and excited about this idea of matchmaking, finding and listening first, listening to what the buyer is looking for, and then going out there and finding it for them and actually putting deals together. And now the low inventory market that we're in, this becomes even more important in order to put deals together, because there isn't enough inventory on the market for buyers to pick from. So we've got to be proactive and go out and find it. And I'm telling you, this matchmaking is the number one way to increase your engagements with your buyers and with potential sellers, because you got a buyer that's looking for a house and you're out there trying to find it. That's going to bring you across for sale by owners. That's going to bring you across old expireds. That maybe even gets you door knocking in a certain area, right? It's going to make you do things that are going to help put deals together and help create the engagement. Another way to create engagements with your sphere. So you've got your sphere isn't necessarily a lead, right? It's not like they raise their hand and they're ready to buy, because they would go into a different funnel if that was the case. But this is your sphere that is potentially going to move, right? And maybe a lot of them are not. They may not be personally moving because they might have a 2.875 interest rate and they're not going to go to 7 or 8, right? So they're going to stay right where they're at. However, maybe their family's moving, or maybe their neighbor is moving, or maybe they've come across some hard times and they need to adjust, and maybe you being there for them at the right time might be the right thing to do. So with this, what I recommend is doing what's called unsolicited CMAs. And I was recently at Real Estate Distilled Conference, and I couldn't believe how many agents were talking about this and how this has really helped grow their business in the last couple of years. And what they're doing is they are looking first at the people that have bought a house for them. I hate to call it their past clients, right? Because once a client, always a client, but the people that have bought a house with them in the past. And they would, you could do it right around anniversaries. So every anniversary, you look at the houses that you sold last year and the anniversary that you got coming up this month, start there. And you send them, there's a couple different ways to do it. You can send it something to them in the mail. You can send a video. I really love doing something where you tie in maybe BombBomb or Loom or Zoom or Descript. You use one of the softwares to create a video. I think the video should be 2 to 3 minutes long. You don't have to get into the details about their value, but you call and you leave them a message, or you send them this video and you say, I know you guys are not thinking about selling. However, I took some time, or we're doing it this time of year, or it's your anniversary, whatever the reason might be. And with the market changing so much, I wanted to give you guys an update on where your value is. And congratulations, you got 60,000 more in equity from buying the house a year ago, or whatever the case might be, right? So you make it a positive video, you make it uplifting, You tell them that you spend some time on putting this together. You show them where you think the value is. You then leave a couple contingencies and a couple buffers here is one, you say that I've not been in your home to see all of the improvements that you've done or anything that you've done to your home. So that is not taken into consideration here, but I would be happy to swing by and adjust this any way that we need to. And then the other thing too is that the CMA does not take into consideration the active listings. And the reason is because they're not officially comps yet. You were only using sold. So the active listings are things that we're going to want to look at if you were to decide to sell or if you were to decide to move, then we would really want to know the actives. But leaving this off then allows you to come for an appointment to make an adjustment and then talk about exactly what they want to talk about and know for their value. So you're not, you want to leave that door open a little bit so that you can always make adjustments on your CMA. Because that's one of the things that I don't like about sending unsolicited CMAs is because if your value is so much lower than what they were thinking or what they're researching, and make sure you check to see what the Zestimate is before you send this to them, because you could also reference the Zestimate, say, the Zestimate says 470, but I actually think you can get more like 500. That usually doesn't happen. It's usually the other way around, right? The Zestimate says 470. However, I don't have a comp that supports that. And I think it's going to be more like 450 or 430 or something like that, right? You can make your case based on the Zestimate because I guarantee they're probably looking at the Zestimate as well. The other thing to note with the unsolicited CMAs is that everybody is not always necessarily moving up, looking for a bigger house or looking to invest or buy a vacation home. We would like to think that. We would like to think that everybody's moving up. But the truth is that some may need this to pay bills. They might be in a tough position right now and they never thought about the equity that they have in their home. And maybe they want to make a career move. Maybe they want to help a family member, or maybe they want to make a big donation to something that they care about. And they never thought about their equity. They never thought about what they could do with that money and how they could keep advancing it and moving it forward. And your unsolicited CMA may open the door to that, right? They may see, wow, we have $100,000 in equity and never, ever imagined I'd have that. And then, wow, I could actually do something with that. I could get that money working for me. And I've always thought about starting this business and maybe this is a sign, maybe I should do this. And again, it might present a great opportunity for them or help them in a situation. So these unsolicited CMAs, they may feel a little weird to you, like they didn't ask me for this CMA. Why would I put the time on putting this together? But just know that it does go far. And I've heard some amazing stories of agents that are doing this and just how well it works. All right. So that's so we got matchmaking, we got unsolicited CMAs. Another great way to create engagements is around your client events. And we coach agents to put client events as a part of their sphere of influence pillar. And this way, it has been so easy for me to create an engagement around a client event. It's just easy for me to call and say, hey, we're having our party in the park this coming weekend, and I would love to see you there. I want to make sure you got the invite. Can I add you to the RSVP list? It can be as simple as that, right? It's just an engagement with your sphere. And I noticed that a lot of agents that are doing client events don't make this call. They put the newsletter together. They put it in their newsletter. They send out invites. They may even do an email campaign. They do a social campaign. Like they'll do everything except for picking up the phone. And I really believe that that's where the magic is, because it's not about getting everybody to your client event. That's awesome. That's a byproduct of it. But the one of the best benefits about calling them is that actual conversation that may not even be about the client event. They might be out of town that weekend and it's a really, really short conversation around that client event, but you might end up start talking about something else. So you never know where it's going to lead. And the power is in that phone conversation. I've had agents that are part of teams and they had other teammates on their team do a joint party together. I had an agent that I was coaching. This is out in Washington. And he called every one of his clients. I told him, well, you got to call every one of your clients. Let's do this. And he has about 150 in his database. and he called every one of them and invited them to the party. He ended up having 90%, and he's just one agent of three. He ended up having 90% of the people that came to the party was from him, right? And he's the new guy on the team. So know that there is so much power in calling your clients about your client events. And it's a great engagement. It's a great reason to call, along with an unsolicited CMA, another great reason, right? So we've got these matchmaking, unsolicited CMAs, event invitations. Another great networking and engagement piece is to build a referral network. So when you're building your business, you're going to need lenders, you're going to need financial planners, you're going to need attorneys, you're going to need contractors, landscapers, electricians, plumbers, you name it, right? Movers, cleaners, carpet cleaners, you name it, a whole list. Well, get intentional about building these referral partners. So reach out to an attorney. And in fact, I had an idea the other day. TJ gave me this idea. Pay an attorney, right? They're selling their hours. Pay for an hour and go meet with them and ask them how they can help you build their business, right? Like actually interview them and meet with them, right? So that's one example. You can go to a contractor and ask a contractor to be part of your referral network. I the other day met a chiropractor right here in Fort Myers. I walked by and I had a high level t-shirt on. And he's like, "Hey, do you use high level?" And I'm like, "No, but I'm thinking about it." And we had this conversation about high level, and he uses it at his chiropractor office. And him and I right there connected with each other on LinkedIn and Instagram and are going to be having coffee together in a week. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that maybe I can refer people to him and he can refer people to me. And you just never know where it's going to go. But building these referral partners is just great engagements that really can go far. You can go talk to an attorney, maybe you're specializing in probate or serving seniors, and go talk to go talk to an attorney that does living trust or does wills and trust. Could be a great connection for you, where you could refer business to them and they could refer business to you. So building this is, again, great quality engagements that's going to move your business forward. The last thing that I got on the list that's going to create good engagements is the I have a buyer letter. Now, I know we've got our fill of I have a buyer letters, and that there's a lot of letters floating out there from agents saying I have a buyer, and we think that the consumer is kind of seeing their fill of this and is not responding. I think that there are still people that are looking for buyers for their home. They're still thinking about selling. And I think if the I have the buyer letter is positioned correctly, it actually does work. And you've got to remove some of the friction that comes with the I have a buyer letter. First of all, if they think that letter was just sprayed across the entire neighborhood and everybody got this letter, they're less likely to really feel like this is legit. They're more thinking that this is just advertising. They're going to bait and switch, and this isn't legit. They're not going to follow up with it. And what we found is that if we attach the old MLS sheet, the MLS sheet from when they bought the house, that our opens would go up, that they would actually take our letter seriously. And so we've positioned the letter to read that the attached MLS sheet is what we're basing this off of. The other thing that I found with these letters is that some people are thinking about selling, but they're not really ready to raise their hand. Like, they are thinking about it. They've had a conversation, but they're not actually taking action. And by making that phone call to you based off of that letter, they're now kind of saying that they're ready, and they're not ready. So they're not going to reply. And so then the letter gets stuffed away and they never reply to it. Or maybe they'll call 6 months later when they are ready. But what we wanted to do is we want to remove that friction. We want to make it easier on them to get this process started. So we came up with a 3-step process, and we have all of this inside the letter. And this letter is available inside the Agent Rise Academy. You can get more details at agentrisecoaching.com/academy. Join that today. We've got a plethora of letters that you can use inside the academy. And one of the thing with this letter is we came up with the 3 steps. And we realized that, we're trying to go from them not interested at all to raising their hand and saying, come on over and sell my house, right? And that just doesn't work that way. So instead, what we want to do is we want them to follow some steps. And that first step is just to let me know that, hey, it's a possibility. I'm not promising anything, but we would consider it. Step number 2 is then we'll drive by your home along with the attached MLS sheet from when it was previously listed. And based off of our drive-by and that MLS sheet, then we'll maybe move on to step 3, and that is to schedule a showing at your convenience, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller. So you tell me when you're ready, and that's when we'll come by. So again, first step right now is just let me know that you're interested. Second step is we'll drive by. Third step is if from there we're interested, then we'll schedule a showing. The other very, very important thing that we've included in our letter in this is that we have made it clear that we are not soliciting for a listing, that we truly are looking on behalf of our buyer, and our buyer is looking for a home in your area, specifically your house. We've showed them the MLS sheet. We've done the drive-by. We are very interested, but if for some reason this is not the right fit for the buyer, I am not going to bait and switch. And here's the thing. It's so tempting to bait and switch, like, it wasn't the right fit for the buyer. And so, but hey, what do you think about getting it listed on the market, right? Like, it's such an easy bait and switch. But I encourage you to avoid that bait and switch because the letter clearly says that we're not soliciting for a listing. And in fact, we're here representing our buyer, and we're looking for our buyer, and we're working on behalf of our buyer. And so then if it's not the right fit for your buyer, then message them or call them and just say, sorry, they didn't like the kitchen, or the bedroom layout wasn't the right thing, or they want a bigger backyard, or whatever the case might be. It wasn't the right fit. At that point, call them and tell them, I'm so sorry. It's not the right fit, but I work with a lot of buyers and I will continue to bring buyers to your home. And again, thank you for taking the time to show us, and let me help you find another buyer. I'm going to be on it and I'll be in touch soon. All right. So what this does is it just continues to put you in the position of you representing your buyer and helping your buyer, and not baiting and switching. Because in order to build trust with the consumer, you can't tell them one thing and do another thing. That's not the way I want to build trust with somebody, right? So you've got to be honest. You've got to say, I'm not here to bait and switch. That's not what I do. I'm here to help my buyer find the home. And if this isn't the right home for them, I'm busy trying to find them another. And then what usually happens is if this seller is actually thinking about selling, you'll be amazed at how they love your approach. You built trust with them by doing exactly what you said you were going to do. And then they appreciate that. So then the call comes, maybe it's a couple of months later or a couple of weeks later, but the call comes and they say, Neil, we were thinking about getting this house sold, and we really liked your approach, and we appreciate your follow-up, and we want to consider listing with you. Would you come over? And that's what happens. It's in the follow-up too. It's not that, you just let it go away and you don't ever follow up with them. No, you check in with them. And did you guys get any other buyers? Are you still thinking about selling? I've got another buyer that I'm working with that maybe it's a potential of, right? It's the follow-up that comes with it. And eventually they see you as their agent. So make sure you don't bait and switch. But I'm telling you, there's power in the I have a buyer letter. And if it's structured the right way, it can really work. And if you want that structure, we've got it inside Agent Rise. You can go to agentrisecoaching.com/academy. We're launching the brand new academy. It's not brand new information in there. This information has been in there for years. It's just a new way. It's a new offer that we're presenting, and it's called the Academy. So more on that to come. We're launching all of that while we're also launching the Agent Rise Summit. And if you don't have your tickets for the Agent Rise Summit, now is the time to get them. It's coming up close here, April 28th through the 30th in downtown Fort Myers. And also all of the announcements are coming out. We're about to release this week all of the speakers and the full agenda. So make sure you stay tuned to that. I plan on doing some Facebook Lives along with some bonus episodes here on the podcast to give you all of the information on the summit. I cannot wait to present to you the agenda for the summit. All of the guest speakers for the Agent Rise Summit are there to follow the framework. We're going to focus on two different areas. One is your personal development and the other one is your business development. And all of the speakers are going to help me build that out for you over the 3 days that we're together. So we're going to follow the Agent Rise framework, the 3 pillars, the 8 steps. That's the business side of everything. And then the personal side is I can't wait to show you what's inside of you and just how unstoppable you truly are, and how by loving yourself, this sounds really weird coming from a burly, bearded man, but I'm telling you, once you begin to love yourself and build yourself up instead of beating yourself up, you will become unstoppable. And so we're going to get that out of you at the Agent Rise Summit. You can get all of the details for the summit at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. And again, those dates are April 28th to the 30th in downtown Fort Myers. And if you're listening to this episode in the month of March, you're in luck because there is still the 2 payment option available so that you can spread out your summit ticket price over the next 2 months. So again, all of those details are at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. And I truly hope to see you in Fort Myers. It's just absolutely beautiful. We had an amazing, amazing year last year. Almost half of the people that attended the summit last year bought their tickets for this year's summit before they even left. So I hope that that speaks volume to you to show you the impact of the summit. And again, wait till you see the lineup of the speakers that I have coming. They're going to be guest speakers, and they're helping me carry that message out of around the framework and around building a business that you love, because you've got to have a clear plan that is congruent to you, and then one you stay consistent with. And when you do that, breakthrough happens. So during the summit, we're going to focus on that clear plan that's congruent to you so that it becomes your plan. And then we're going to show you and help you become consistent. And that all the consistency comes by removing limiting beliefs. And I'm telling you, once you know the power that's inside of you, you can remove those limiting beliefs. All right. So again, join us for the Agent Rise Summit, agentrisecoaching.com/summit, April 28th to the 30th, downtown Fort Myers. Thanks so much for listening to the Agent Rise podcast. I hope you have a great day. Like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.